All right, brother. Here we are.
Yes.
My goodness. So we open in prayer. You start praying, and I already almost start crying. So amen to that. Just your tenderness, Miguel. Like I've been blessed to know you not super long. I think we actually met in Dallas.
Yeah.
Probably 2 years ago?
Yes.
Okay. But I'm telling you, right when I met you, Miguel, I'm like, and I know I met you before the event, we had met, and I'm like, this guy's different. There's a tenderness to you. There's a gentleness. There's a strength. And there's like a fire within you. Like I think about sometimes, like when people talk about strength, I see so much self-control in you. And I don't know, you're just a gift. You have been from the day I first met you. And though we don't spend a lot of time together or get a lot of time, the time that we've had has been a gift to my heart. So it is like such an honor to sit down with you. It's going to make me cry already. I think this is going to be a tearful one. I can feel it.
I feel it already.
But just such an honor. So thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me, and definitely appreciate the words of encouragement. Like, same when I met you and MJ, just having sisters that are bold and love the Lord, and just not being afraid to share the truth.
Yeah.
And it's just been an encouragement to me.
Amen.
So,
amen.
Yeah.
Miguel, I think you have a lot to unpack. So I say this, like, I've just said it to friends, but like for me to be quiet is a miracle. But like it's an honor in this case, and in every case that whoever of my friends gets to sit in that other seat, that I get to listen, and that you get to just share, like, what's your life been?
Yeah.
Like that's such a loaded question. I know there's so much, but just as you feel led, like, just what is it? Like, here you are, here it is. And we know it's not to glorify ourselves, but you've been through a lot, bro. And you've done a lot. And so I just want to give you the freedom to share wherever you want to start. Like, feel free, childhood, whatever. But like, if there's something burning on your heart, you share, and let's just enjoy this time.
Yeah, definitely. I think just going back to even how you started the conversation, like the things that you were calling out that you see, it's something that I think has been from a lot of tears, that I wasn't always confident. For me, just growing up originally from Chicago, born into a loving family. My parents were young when they had me, but they came from their own brokenness, and homosexuality, incest, drugs, alcohol, infidelity runs on both sides of the family. But for me, it started with just sexual abuse at the age of 6. It started also with other lies as well, because as soon as it happened, the lie that the enemy whispered was like, no one's going to believe you. Because not only was the abuser was a family member, he was physically smaller than me and a year younger than me.
Oh, wow.
So God only knows that he himself, something's happened to him.
Oh, yeah, because he must have been 5, roughly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the thought that would like just plague me was like, they're not going to believe you because you're bigger, you're older. And so I think that just kind of put a gag, like, I can never say that this happened.
Yeah.
And just growing up in a Hispanic culture as well, where the norm of men being just macho and masculine, I wasn't that way. And neither is my father. And I think, again, just looking back now, what masculinity looks like, even that culture got it wrong. You know, where the men worked and the women took care of the home and the family and everything else. But for me, I loved art as a child. I loved beautiful things. And I think I'm just simply reflecting being made, like how God has made us. We're made in the image of him.
So you like appreciated things that maybe some people missed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even some boys, I was not the boy who would jump and fight and play and wrestle and stuff like that. I would be, my dad used to draw, and I would appreciate and just watch him draw. And I loved ice skating, and I loved flowers, and just things that were just beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think the enemy used that as well, because like bullying started very young in school. I was kind of quiet. I was always a little husky, so I was just a prime target. And being the oldest, and having sisters, and also being the only grandson out of 8 granddaughters.
Oh, wow.
Like, I always felt comfortable being around girls. I always felt kind of safe around women, because again, I would see how the men interact in our family, and they were just loud. And and when they've tried to man me up, their idea was like being rough with me. And I'm like, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
And if this is what it looks like to be a man, then I don't want this. And, but I remember an early thought of where the idea maybe I shouldn't be a boy came in an innocent way.
Yeah.
So having, seeing my dad talk with my sisters and interact with my sisters. I don't know why Hispanics do this, but we do. We call our children like mama or papa.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so he would call my sisters mama. And I remember asking him, I'm like, well, why don't you call me mama? And in my mind, like now I can look back, I think I was just asking, why don't I have a pet name?
Yeah.
You know, and
So he didn't call you he didn't call you Papa. No, just.
No. He said he had a pet name for me, but I don't remember it.
Okay.
But his response in that moment, and I don't think he was being malicious or anything. He was just like, well, because you're a boy. Like he was just answering that question.
Yeah. Just matter of fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all that was needed to plant that little doubt. Like, okay, so if I was a girl, then I would get called mama, and then I would have that affection that I was seeing displayed. And in the past, whenever I used to share my story, I would always say that my father was not affectionate with me. And I think through time and healing and counseling, the Lord has revealed, and my father, he was like, I was affectionate with you, but you pushed me away. And I think the pushing away was because of what was happening, like the molestation.
Yeah.
And my family didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't tell anybody.
No.
Because of that, what you held on to, they wouldn't believe me.
Yeah.
This is okay.
And that, with that specific cousin, it continued on for many years. But it wasn't him forcing himself on me or anything. It was just what we did.
Okay.
You know.
Became normal.
It became normal. And I ended up being an object of the enemy as well. Like I started doing the same thing with other little boys. I think it was just my way of saying, this is normal, right? Like what we're doing, this is okay.
Yeah.
And not seeing that it was just darkness and sin.
Yeah.
And
did you feel, Miguel, like, I mean, you were so young, but it happened for years. Did you feel any bits of shame, or like that you needed to hide? We might not be able to identify like shame as a little kid, right? But did you have a thing of like, I can't tell anybody about this? Not only that it happened to you, but now that you were doing it, was it like hidden, secret? Nobody can know about this?
Yeah, definitely. And again, because I saw how the other men were in my family, I didn't think I was like them. I didn't think that I could share those kind of things. I thought I would get made fun of or laughed at. But again, I think the enemy just twisted that thing in my mind, that nobody's going to believe you and no one's going to protect you.
Yeah.
And that moving forward, just started having me question myself, like in a place where children should be playing outside.
Yeah.
Enjoying youth. I had to think in ways that no child should have to think. And things were sexualized for me at an early age.
Oh, very, yeah.
And so this same cousin introduced me to pornography. And again, it was just like torture to my little eyes, and even him as well. Like, I think he was only doing what he was shown.
Right.
And then bullying at school has just gotten at that point worse, where boys would chant Miguel's gay. And I was made fun of because I was respectful of girls. Like, the boys would be like, go pinch her, go lift up her shirt. I'm like, why would I want to do that? Like, I think I would always think of my sisters. I'm like, I wouldn't want any boy doing this. So again, that labeled me, you know, and that was spoken over me again and again.
At about what age? What?
That
age?
Was 10 or 11.
Okay.
You know, and I remember, I believe it was an aunt who said this, but this lie was like, you're too pretty to be a boy.
Oh.
You know, and again, that thing was just combined with this brokenness, confused and drawn to boys, but also like, am I a boy?
Right.
You know,
a lot of seeds.
Yeah.
A lot of seeds.
I think my parents didn't understand, like, as I was getting older, like, I was very just rebellious. Like, my heart was just so broken, and I was just so confused. And that same cousin took my virginity at 12, you know, and again, where we should be playing as children, where we should have slumber parties and feel innocent, like, that was all out the window for me.
Yeah.
And, but I love that God restores all things, and he makes things brand new. And the innocence that I lost, I definitely feel that he's restored a lot of that.
Yeah.
And he's made me like a little boy again. But moving forward, like my freshman year of high school, I was tired of the bullying. I was tired of being made fun of, and this attraction, and, you know, secretly looking at pornography and still messing around with my cousin. It was just like, I think this is just who I am. You know, I believe this is who I am, because not only was it that cousin, I was molested by another male cousin. I was shown a pornographic image by another relative. And so kind of felt targeted. So I just thought, maybe that's just how I am.
Maybe I'm attracting all this. This is who I am. Wow.
And I became very depressed and just thinking, maybe I shouldn't live anymore. And like, my parents were going to church. And again, when I used to share my story, I used to say I grew up in a somewhat Christian home. Like, we would go to church on holidays. And the first time I shared that, my dad heard it. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, we were at church on Wednesdays. We had Bible studies. We were on church on Sundays. We had people coming here. And I have zero memory of that.
Wow.
And I think because of that, one, it was being suppressed because of abuse, suppressed because of the enemy. But what my family also didn't know, I started dabbling in witchcraft. And I think because I saw some dumb movie from the 90s, and it was like all these girls having power. And I think my mind was just like, I wanted power because I was tired of what has happened to me. I was tired of being made fun of. So I just started looking for witchcraft. I would go to the library. I remember looking up spells and stuff like that, and not knowing that I was literally inviting hell into my home. And my relationship with my family just got really bad, where I would run away a lot. I was extremely disrespectful. I got into a couple physical fights with my dad.
Wow. At what age is this? When did kind of the looking for power? And it makes, I mean, like, just my heart, Miguel, when you're like, I was looking for power. I just kept hearing the word like powerlessness. Right. And so how can I stop this stuff or switch it around? Like, you don't hear a lot of that. You just hear, oh, you know, he got into witchcraft. Yeah, but why? Right. Like, so I just so my heart just like, in that place. How old were you about at that age when this is kind of happening? Were you into high school yet?
I was like 14, 15,
Okay.
going on in freshman year.
Okay.
Also got into drinking.
Okay.
I had uncles who thought it would be funny to get me drunk. And so drinking at 14, already sexually active,
Yeah.
operating in witchcraft. Like, no wonder I struggle with depression. Why I was always miserable, and I started cutting myself. And like, one of my biggest scars is on my arm and and on my thighs. And I remember just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live. And I tried hanging myself, and my mother and my baby sister had walked in, and I really put my family through a lot, and they just didn't understand what was happening to their son. And I love my parents. They are good parents, and they did the best that they can, but they couldn't deal with my brokenness. They didn't know how to help me, because I was running from them, and I hated my father, and I pushed my mother away. And so I think it was my freshman year of high school that I was in a mental institution. And I remember just seeing all these children just kind of like drugged and just kind of out of it. And I'm like, is this what my life is going to be like? And that's where I met my first gay friend.
Wow.
And he was this loud, boisterous person. And I'm like, I want to be him. Because I was always the quiet, shy person. But I just saw how he was. And we secretly exchanged numbers. And when I got out of the institution, I contacted him. And he was the one that introduced me to drag.
Oh, wow.
And his life is, I don't know where he's at now, but it was very dark as well. And I think the first time I put on that wig, it's just like, it was the final piece to bring that light of truth. Like, maybe you're not a boy.
Wow.
And so freshman year of high school, I just became that person. I became boisterous and loud and sassy. And it's hard to talk about because it's like a whole nother life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah. It's like, wait.
It feels like a different person that isn't the person you are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miguel, when you, at this time, I mean, I don't want to breeze over, but also I don't want to press on things either. But this reality, like when your mom and your sister found you, did anything open where, like, did you share what was all trapped inside? Nothing. You still just held it all in. So they didn't know about the abuse, the molestation, the abuse, the pornography, none of it. All inside, just little you holding everything in.
Yeah.
When you were in the institution, did you share anything then?
Yeah, I never talked about the abuse until in my late 20s, after I became a Christian.
Wow.
But I did tell them that I was gay in the institution.
And that was the first time you'd ever said that?
Yeah.
To
anyone.
Okay.
And I think, hearing that was being spoken over me at school, and just warring with these feelings that I knew that I was right, but also it was definitely wrong. But I think I try to drown that out with the misbehavior and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so when I shared that with them, there was definitely a disconnect with me and my mom, and like, I was a mama's boy, and not shaming her or anything, but I think it was just like being the only son as well. This idea like, wait, my son is gay, and I remember when I shared it with my dad, he was just so kind. but I always remembered that he would always say, you need to respect yourself.
Mm.
And I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
You know, like you need to respect yourself. And I think what he was saying is how I carried myself.
Mm.
And like, but he didn't know again about the abuse. So I had lost respect for my body.
Oh, yeah.
So
You were never respected.
yeah.
How do you learn respect when you're at a young age,
Yeah.
disrespected in so many levels?
Yeah. I definitely believe like, because that I lost respect for myself, like normal things, like was waiting for, I was at a bus stop and a man drove up in his car, asked if he can give me a lift. And I'm thinking, here's a nice stranger. I'm like, okay, gave me a lift and we drove into an alley and things happened. And there's more stories of that where, and I think it's because of how I carried myself as well.
Yeah.
You know,
Kind of giving yourself away.
Yeah.
Showing that you're available, because that's what you learned.
Yeah.
When you were, Miguel, you know, through these years, you know, let's say 10 to high school, were you secretly hooking up with people, having these encounters with men? Was there anything public or was it all private?
All private.
All private, all behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to feel normal.
Yeah.
You know, because there was such this heaviness of like, all that this is happening, this is not okay. But I'm like, but this is what I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, my freshman year is when I decided that I was just going to come out and just be like that person that I met in the institution. Like he was just so vibrant.
Yeah.
But it wasn't vibrancy. It was a level of brokenness.
Yeah.
And so I put myself out there and I started wearing lip gloss and little things. Little by little, I started embracing and bringing makeup to school. I think I had also lost respect for men. You know, I thought of them as monsters and I'm like, I don't want to resemble this at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when the final straw was I showed up to my senior prom in full on drag. I introduced the world and my high school as my name at the time that I would go by was Coco.
Wow.
And
this was not popular then.
No.
This was not something that was happening. Guys were not dressing more feminine. This was not something. So your freshman year, you start dabbling, and then your senior year, you're full blown. So what about this like sophomore, junior, where it was slow and steady, kind of more feminine?
Yeah, more feminine, wearing women's lingerie underneath my clothing, more makeup, more lip gloss.
And what's family saying? Are you kind of just distancing yourself, just kind of shutting them out?
Yeah.
So they're not really speaking into your life because you're not putting yourself in that situation. Was church any part of your life at this? Zero. Okay.
Yeah.
So done. Family, maybe they went, but you were not.
No, I wasn't a part of it. And I think an early memory of church was slumber party, pastor's son's birthday, and you would think it would be a safe space as well. But here's the pastor's son. They invited us to go swimming, and the pastor's son is like flashing us, like all the boys that were there.
How old were you guys?
13,
Wow.
14. So this was before going into high school.
Yeah.
So again,
just more exposure with men, more.
Yeah.
Wow.
And between sophomore year, like just more, I would be taking public transportation, and men would just touch me while on the bus.
Wow.
And I think again, at that point, I was embracing this gay identity. And
did any part of it make you feel seen?
Yeah.
Loved?
I wasn't being made fun of.
Mm.
You know, I wasn't being what I felt like I felt rejection between me and my dad.
Yeah.
And again, it was nothing that he was doing, but I think the enemy had twisted this thing in my head that I wasn't wanted by my dad, you know, when in reality, my father was in prayer. My father and mother were on their face crying out for their son. And I just took it as my parents were trying to control me and that they didn't want me, but they were trying to protect me from things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so it felt good that I got attention.
Yeah.
It felt good. Again, the idea of having power.
Yeah.
That I'm able to get the attention of a man, or that I was popular. Yeah. Because again, in my high school, I didn't go to a safe high school. So it was kind of a risk. Like I could have gotten beaten up.
Oh, yeah.
But I was popular with all the girls.
Okay.
And like cheerleader girls and stuff like that. So I was just one of the girls. So the boyfriends didn't feel threatened or anything like that. And also there was a level of being a boy kind of drowned out when the girls would change in front of me. They're like, oh, it's just Miguel.
It's just Miguel.
And what kind of pushed me even more over the edge was the same cousin that we're living with. And in my mind, I'm like, now looking back, I'm like, how could nobody see what was happening? Like we had our own little world, like our rooms were in the basement. So,
oh, wow. And you were literally living over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was like a backdoor entrance through the basement. So we
came and went as you pleased.
Yeah. And I don't know how else to say it, but I felt like he pimped me out to one of his friends. And there was a level where I felt betrayed because I'm like, this is our secret.
Our thing.
And in my mind, it was just so, again, there was just delusion that I thought me and him can continue to do this and this is how we were going to be. And so when he brings his friend into the picture, at this point, I had no respect. I'm like, okay, I guess this is what we're going to do.
Wow.
And so me and this guy started hooking up, and again, just tearing up my soul, and by 18, finishing high school, I dropped out of high school because I wanted to pursue just wildness and stuff like that as well.
So you had said you went your senior prom fully dressed in drag.
Yeah.
So how did people respond to you? Like what happened?
I was celebrated.
Wow.
So I walked in, and again, I think of all the pornography that I was watching, it was called Queer as Folk. Like this idea, the world was celebrating homosexuality and making it beautiful. Like there was a show called Will and Grace.
Yeah.
So stuff that I'm like, I wanted this life. I wanted to be celebrated. And I remember walking in, there was silence. And then all of a sudden, applause. And
I just got the chills.
So there was something that just fed into that. Like this version of Miguel is good enough.
Good. Yeah.
Coco is what the world wants. Coco is going to be loved. Coco is bold and stuff like that. That's how I carried myself. And again, there was just still this broken little boy trying to understand what's happened to him in the past and who's going to love him through his brokenness. Yeah. Not knowing my sister went to that same high school. And it was the Monday after prom, and people are still whispering about it and stuff like that. And I'm on this high.
Yeah.
And me and my sister had lockers side by side. And I just see her head in the locker. And I asked her, I'm like, what's going on? And she's crying and crying. She's like, why did you do this? She said, they have been making fun of you all day. I would hear it in the halls, and I'm defending you. Here I thought again, sin is just so selfish. You don't care about anybody. And here's my sister that I'm supposed to be the example. I'm supposed to be protecting her. And she just cried. And I just remember at the moment, like, wait, what did I just do? And the aunt and uncle I was living with, they called my parents, and my parents came over and they heard about it, and they're like, why did you do this? I remember having a conversation with my dad, and he's just like, he was always speaking wisdom, but in my mind, I wasn't understanding this. He's like, you're not always going to be this way. And you're doing things that you don't want people to keep talking about. And I didn't understand. I was just like, yeah, whatever. But again, I was embracing this thing, and I felt safe. And I think another element was because of the witchcraft, I was so deceived. When I
So you were still doing all that.
yeah,
Wow.
I was asking the devil to give me power over men. And if I wanted a specific man, I would ask the devil for that man. And so when I would look in the mirror, I didn't see myself correctly. I didn't see my form. I didn't see that I was a big guy. And I think that started because my abuser originally was someone smaller than me. But moving forward, like between senior year into my early 20s was just, again, sleeping around. Again, no respect for my body. So I'm just like walking home from work and a guy would hit on me and just follow me home. I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. And friends that I thought we were friends, and they would hit on me, and I wouldn't say force himself on me, but made it obvious. I'm like, okay, now we're going to do this thing.
Wow.
And the one gay friend that I had, the one who introduced me to drag and stuff like that, where I didn't have nowhere to live. I was living with him and his boyfriend. And his boyfriend, my friend at the time was like probably 23, 24. And his boyfriend was like in his 50s.
Oh, wow.
And so I remember one night I was sleeping and my friend came into the bedroom and came in naked. And I was like, do I not have friends?
Oh.
You know, and this is where this thing that came in, it was like, he did a good thing for me. Now give me what you owe me.
Wow.
And so we did our thing, and it just, again, I just thought I was just an object, you know? So moving forward, I'm no longer living with him. I'm living with a girl from high school that I stayed in contact with, and she was a really safe place for me. She accepted me. But her boyfriend at the time, full dark circle back moment, he was one of my bullies from school.
Oh my goodness.
And he was one of the worst bullies. And he had no memory of that. I remember talking to him about that, and he had no memory of me, but I remembered him clearly.
Yeah.
He was a drug dealer, and he's the one that introduced me to the world of it. And in my heart, the men that I targeted were specifically straight men. I had no interest in flamboyant men because I'm like,
that's mine.
That's mine.
Yeah.
And this idea of like, now I'm going to make you this way because of what has been done to me. And I'm going to have power over you. And eventually I seduced him and slept with him.
Wow.
And
you're the bully.
The bully.
Wow.
My best friend at the time.
His boyfriend.
And the men, again, that I targeted, like, I remember one of them had a girlfriend. So there was this high.
Yeah. So you got into drugs and all of that. That's what this guy introduced you into?
Yeah. Ecstasy, cocaine, more of the ecstasy and weed. Like it was, I think I was high every day for a number of years, like because we had access to it.
Yeah.
And the mother of my friend, she was living in Florida. Her story was she came out of drug addiction and she lost custody of her children. And so God is calling her from Florida to Chicago. And she thinks, okay, the Lord is going to restore my relationship with my children. This is what's happening. But it was a rescue mission. And she comes and moves in with me and her daughter's boyfriend.
Who's a drug dealer.
And
the mom had now recovered.
Yeah.
She was okay.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And we're all living in the drug dealer's mom's house.
Wow.
So it was a den of sin because like all sorts of things were happening.
Oh, I bet.
It was horrible. Her name's Sandra. She's like my spiritual mama. And this is how she would share the story with me. She said she remembered when she first walked up to the house. And she said she saw the house covered in demons. And she was like, God, what am I getting myself into? And she walks into the home and she heard the Lord. And the Lord said, there's someone in this house you need to help save. And she thought, obviously,
Your daughter.
my daughter. And at the time, my experience with other Christians, because again, how I carried myself, I'll be walking in the street. I was told I was going to go to hell. I had a relative told me that I was going to die of AIDS. And I worked my first job as a waiter, and the owner was a Christian. And I would wear makeup to work and stuff like that. And she's like, you know, you're going to hell for this, right? And
never sat with you, never asked nothing, just
nothing, just
judgment,
straight on judgment. And so my idea, I'm like, okay, if this is what church is like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm already rejected.
Right.
So why would I go to them?
No.
But a big fight broke out in the house, and I pulled Sandra into the room. It was just a natural reaction because I didn't want her to get hurt. But I recognized her as like, this is a Jesus lady. That's what I would call them. They were Jesus people. Like there was something about her. So I pull her into the bedroom, close the door. She didn't hesitate to share the gospel. And how I describe Sandra, I don't know if you know the actress Rosie Perez, like this boisterous woman from New York. Well, the character Rosie Perez, but as a Christian, like Sandra was like in your face, loves Jesus, had no filter. And I closed the door, and the look that she gave me was different from all the looks that I've ever received. It was like filled with love. And there was like this glow, like there was life coming out of this woman's face. And she looked at me and said, God has more for you than this. And God, this is not the life that God has for you. And I just looked at her. And again, if I wish I can just kind of pull out the memory of how I saw this woman. There, like love entered into the room. And again, there was no, she didn't condemn me to hell. She didn't say any of that. Like she looked at me with love. And at the time I didn't receive it. I was like, what is this? What is happening? I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
But I just didn't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
And fast
So
forward.
you were trying to help her. You wanted to keep her out of whatever was going on in the house.
Yeah.
But you encountered something different that you'd never encountered before. You've had a lot of looks in your life, Miguel. That a lot of people look at you. But this was different.
Yeah.
And you weren't ready, but you recognized it in that moment.
There was life in this woman's eyes. There was a peace. And again, I've never seen anybody look at me the way that she looked at me. And I honestly believe it was the Lord. Like just living through her, like, and when she said that, like for a second, my walls started coming down. I'm like, wait, I don't have to live this way. But walls came up immediately because, again, from what I've experienced from other Christians,
you're gonna hurt me.
I'm like, okay, lady, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we all move out of the house, and me, the daughter, the drug dealer, and Mama Sandra, we get in an apartment together.
The four of you.
The four of us.
Okay.
And she, being the woman that she is, she was praying, getting up in the morning, interceding over the home. And the guy, the drug dealer, told her, if you're going to live here, you can't pray.
So she was openly praying, but she wasn't condemning. Not even, did she know he was a drug dealer?
Yeah.
Wow. And she knew what her daughter was in. She knew what you were in. So she never spoke at you or prayed at you. She was just praying.
Yeah. Okay. She was praying. And again, she wasn't, whenever she was praying out loud too. She was being Holy Ghost and extra ghosty about it. But when he told her that, she's like, well, then I'm leaving. Like, you can't tell me not to pray. And she told me, she's like, come with me. And at the time, I wasn't ready. I was just like, I loved my friend. And before I jumped ahead a little bit, I hadn't slept with him at this point yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he was just supplying drugs, and you guys had your little friendship of three, quote unquote, but nothing sexual between you and him, and not between you and her.
No.
You had never been with women.
Never.
Okay.
I've never been attracted to women.
Okay. Okay.
I think I didn't find them as beautiful.
Yeah.
And again, because girls would change in front of me, I was just like, I'm not interested.
Okay.
And, but I knew what I wanted to do with him. So whenever I was talking to her, I was telling her about my crazy interactions with other guys. I knew that he was listening. So I was just planning all that stuff in his head. And so Sandra moves out of the picture. And I feel like that's when hell was released even more. And like that covering was gone. And so I do eventually seduce him and sleep with him. And then I saw, it was like the veil was pulled back. And I saw the person that I've became, where I've become the abuser, where I've lured other men into darkness, where a person who gave me a home, my best friend at the time, I'm sleeping with her boyfriend. And I was also into, like, I was a klepto. Like, so I was stealing as well from stores and stuff like that. And I just saw this person, and I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this anymore. And now I'm hurting people, and I've hurt so many people. And so they move out. I get a place of my own, and I get in contact with Sandra again. And cause I'm like, okay, Lord. Well, I didn't say Lord at the time, but I said, okay, God, I'm like, I think I'm ready to try this Jesus thing out. And, I just love him. Because like he was moving behind the scenes even before I wanted him. Even when I rejected him, he was already moving. He was already like making my way of escape. And I called Sandra, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do this thing. And she's like, okay, I want you to start coming to church with me. The apartment that I had, again, I believe this was God. I can look out the window and see the church.
Oh, wow.
I had no idea.
Didn't know.
I didn't know that was her church. I didn't know at all. And I'm just like, this is weird.
Yeah.
But it was his faithfulness, because I could 4-minute walk.
Wow.
That's how close I was.
Wow.
So I go to her church, and all that insecurity started coming up again. Like when I walked in, I saw the looks. I saw the glares. I saw.
Because you were still dressing as you.
I wasn't doing wigs and stuff like that. Like I was still dabbling in it and stuff like that, but
people could tell something was different.
Yeah, I had lip gloss. I had pencil thin eyebrows. I had makeup and eyeshadow and mascara. I did all that. I had a little purse. So these people are the church looking at me, and Sandra's like, I want to introduce you to the pastor. And I'm like, okay, here we go. And the pastor's like, who are you? Like, not in a, like, tell me who you are. And I shared little bits, but I was just like, this is just who I am, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, okay, we want to help you. And I'm like, okay. So he assigns 2 accountability partners. They're elders from the church. And again, I'm still having sex with men. I'm still looking at pornography. I'm still dancing around in my apartment with makeup and wigs on.
Yeah. And so, how old are you about at this time?
20.
20. Okay.
20, 21. So I remember one of the guys that guy that I was pimped out to, like for years, me and him, he was like my go-to.
Okay.
You know, and again, these were guys that were on the football team in high school. Like, so it was always hush, hush.
Yeah.
And, so he was outside my door, and I knew I shouldn't let him in. So I called one of the elders. I'm like, I want to let this guy in. I don't know what to do. And there's like this awkward silence. And he was like, I don't know how to help you. And this rejection, I was like, what? What do you mean you don't know how to help me? Now looking back, I would say, you couldn't pray for me.
Right.
You couldn't say, I'm on my way.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, like something.
Thank you for calling. I'm glad you reached out.
Yeah. So,
but you were very new into church. Like you went the first day and you get accountability partners, but you're not really being walked with, like nothing. Okay.
So I hang up and I call Sandra. And she just starts praying. And she's praying and calling down Jesus and stuff like that and saying, you don't have to let him in and stuff like that. She's fighting for me when I didn't even know how to fight.
Yeah.
And that's how my journey in the beginning with the Lord was. Sandra was my accountability. Sandra was warring for me. Sandra was calling life and identity over me. And the men in the church didn't. So eventually the pastor's like, we think you need more help. And so they gave me a book to read, and they're like, read this book. And it's called At the Altar of Sexual Idolatry. And I was just like, okay, a book. Thank you. So it took me months to read the book because I was just like, how is this going to help me?
Right.
You know? And after I finished the book, they're like, we want you to go do this program in Kentucky. It was a ministry, and it's called Pure Life Ministries.
Okay.
And it was a live-in facility for men who struggle with sexual addiction.
Okay.
All forms.
Okay.
And I was like, at this point, I was desperate. I'm like, I'll do whatever to get free.
Yeah.
And told my family. At this point, I got back in, like,
a little more in touch with your family.
Yeah.
Okay.
And told them, I'm like, I'm doing this thing. And they were like, okay, you know, and my parents were celebrating that I was like attending church, and they met Sandra, and they were so grateful for Sandra because, again, like, she was a spiritual mama.
Yeah.
And I guess I was able to receive from her. And so I go through the program, and it's a 6 to 12 month program. I'm there for 9 months. And month 3 or 4 is where I encountered the Lord in a real way. I remember I was shaving in the mirror because I didn't like facial hair at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like the veil was pulled back, and the Lord showed me my form, showed me the man that he made me to be. And I cried, and I ran to my counselor, and I'm like, I'm a man. You know, like, what I saw in the mirror did not reflect that, you know, in the past. Like, whenever I looked in the mirror, and I believe it's because of like the demonic and stuff like that, I saw this thing that could be anything it wanted, but it was more beautiful. And again, always being told you're too pretty to be a boy and stuff like that. And so when I saw my form, I was just like, what is this? And my counselor lovingly looked at me. He's like, yeah, you're a boy, you're a man, you know. But that was my journey of healing. And I knew, I'm like, okay, Jesus, one day I want to have a family. Because, again, no attraction for women, none. Zero.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need you to help me to learn to be a man. I didn't know what that looked like.
Yeah.
And again, what I saw from the church, the men at the church, I'm like, I don't
want to be
that.
No.
And so I had trusted brothers that I would ask them to help me, like, because my voice was a lot softer. And my dad says he remembers when, like, my bass
came back,
you know.
Wow.
And how I used to carry myself, again, things that I picked up from the world, from the party scene, from girl and girlfriends. There is a way that gay men carry themselves. And I didn't want that anymore. I wanted whatever God had for me.
And it wasn't because, like, what I'm not hearing is, oh my gosh, I have to change to be accepted by the church, or you were done. You just were done with what you were doing. And then didn't know how to do anything else, and just cried out, like, God, I need you. And basically teach me, like, however you want.
Yeah. And that is my encouragement for anybody. Like, I've known men that have come out of the lifestyle and they are faithful and they love the Lord. But unless you don't know them, just by how they carry themselves, you would assume that they're a gay man. And not to shame them at all. Everybody's sanctification, everybody's process is different.
Yeah.
But there is hope.
Yeah.
Because the same one that set us free is the same one that can teach us.
Absolutely.
Can father us in a way that to reflect him. And others couldn't. So I would cry and cry and cry out, like, God, teach me, help me to be a man, help me to be a man, help me to understand what that looks like. And little by little, like, my walk changed, because you would think I was on a catwalk wherever I walked.
Oh, really?
That's just how I carried myself. And my mannerisms and stuff like that, it was like a gentle touch from the Holy Spirit. Like, when I would talk and stuff like that, I would hear, relax. I'm like, okay. This is how you carry yourself. And again, it was just a father teaching me. And so moving forward, graduating from the program.
So this was not this see, because I just want to pause because I want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. And also just for clarification for anybody else, the program wasn't trying to teach you this.
Oh, no.
This wasn't man trying to say, hey, Miguel, you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that and you should walk different. This was you crying out, not from a place of shame, but just done.
Yeah.
And this was not human beings trying to change you. This was you from your own desire, crying out, asking the Lord to do whatever he wants, change, transform.
Yeah.
Okay, because I only say that because I think there are people who have experienced others trying to change them, right? Where someone comes in and says, you shouldn't look like that. If you're a Christian, you shouldn't dress like that. You shouldn't talk like that. You shouldn't move like that. You shouldn't, the mannerisms, right? But I'm not hearing that from you. This was your desire cried out to God the Father and him slowly following you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because again, from what I've seen from other men, I didn't want to mimic them.
Okay.
I wanted to mimic however I was originally made to be.
Okay.
I wanted him to
right to
show
the source.
Yes. Like, y'all are getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want what y'all are kind of off.
I got it wrong already. I'm going you're kind of wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had men that tried that. But I was like,
We're good.
I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
But no thanks. And graduating from that program, the Lord was like, you're not moving back to Chicago. And I'm like, that is all I know. I'm like, all my family's there. What do you mean? But I didn't have a strong spiritual support besides Sandra. And I honestly believe that if I had gone back, not to say that the work that he did wasn't enough, but not having a community
right
to walk alongside of me.
Yeah, because this is going to be a process.
Yeah.
This is not just great.
Yeah. It's not a bag of popcorn.
No.
It's not holy popcorn. I'm not going to pop up and just be sanctified.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, what's next, Lord? Yeah. And met a brother through the program. This was my first guy friend ever. And we're so opposite. Like, totally boy from Pennsylvania, city boy from the Chicago. And he's like, they always joked about us and said that we were like Sam and Frodo.
Oh,
like, and I felt safe with him. And he didn't come out of homosexuality. And I remember the first time even meeting him, he gave me like this weird glare. And it's because when I first arrived to the program, I had my bags, I was flamboyant, and I was just being a little snobby. Yeah. And I'm like, what is this place? Yeah. And I think I said that out loud, and he kind of looked back and like, okay, who are you? Yeah. Yeah. And my first encounter was someone asking for forgiveness was him. He came to me a couple weeks after that, and he said, hey, I would love to ask you for forgiveness. I judged you, and I didn't mean to. And I was just like, you're asking me to forgive? It was so foreign, and I was like, yeah, of course. Wow. And the Lord gave me a brother. And we moved to Pennsylvania. I moved in with him and his parents, and the Lord used that season to bring more healing, to see what a healed family life would look like. And that's when an idea of like, man, I love this family. I want to have a family one day. And I was praying, I'm like, Lord, you need to help me to see women the way that you see them, how you made them, because I'm not attracted. Yeah. There's zero attraction. And it started with little things. Like I would notice a purse that a girl was carrying, and then I started noticing who was carrying the purse. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, that's a nice purse. And then I just started seeing women for who they were, seeing their character with other people, and that started getting my attention about them. And there was a softness and a strength that I appreciated that I didn't have, that I'm like, it kind of drew me to that as well. I'm like, there's something about women that it's a beautiful mystery. And I think it's just how God intended it to be, to draw us to them. Yeah. I remember asking a girl out, and that didn't go well. Okay. And this is like years in. And again, nobody's saying, hey, you got to get married. You got to get a girlfriend. Like, because I've
I know friends who have had that, right? And so this is really just desires beginning to arise in you. And the guy that you were friends with, like the Lord bringing you a brother, did you wrestle with things with him? Like, did you have to fight temptations? Okay. Did he, or was it just, did you share that with him, or was it you just kind of wrestling on your own?
Me on my own.
Okay.
He didn't know about this, that I was attracted to. Like, at first I had zero attraction to him because he was not the norm that I was attracted to. But because of childhood and stuff like that, when someone was being nice to me, there was this natural reaction like, what do you want from me?
Right, right.
But he loved me, and it was safe, and it freaked me out. But little by little, I started struggling with attraction and like these old habits of like, I wonder if I can seduce him. And then just like, but it was a war. I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this life. But
now you were experiencing a fight. Like usually you would just be like, all right, seduction begins.
Yeah.
But now it was like, wait, I know this. Yeah. This is what I know, but this is what I want. And like two different things. Because I've experienced that myself as well. Not just in the past, but even in that process of sanctification, it's like our flesh dying, right?
Yeah.
And that's all we know to live in. It's what we've fed so much. And now this new is arising, and there's a war within.
Yeah. It's a hard war. And I think this is why we need community. This is why we need to know this word, because there's going to be moments that where eventually, if we continue to buy that lie, if we continue to just believe like this is always going to be this way, this war is always going to be this way, so let me just give in just a little bit, then we'll never really truly know the victory and truly know wholeness if we're not trusting in him, trusting in the Lord, trusting like this is life. Like one of my favorite verses is Jeremiah 32:27. It's, I'm the God of all flesh. Is there anything too hard for me? No. So
did you rely, Miguel, when you're struggling, you've got this guy that's like, man, he's like a brother, but I'm still kind of having some of these things, these temptations. Did you have anybody to walk with you through that? So it was you and the Lord, just like, God, I need help. I don't want to see him this way. I don't want to do what I've done. And the Lord gave you strength. Never fell with him, never. Amen.
Yeah. And I had a journal I still have the journals, like prayers, like, God, please help me. I don't want to do this. I don't want to see him this way. Help me to see him the way that you see him. Help me to love him. And we've been friends 15 years.
Come on.
I was in his wedding. He was in my wedding.
Don't get us there yet. Come on.
Sorry. Oops. Cut that.
No, it's good. It's, I mean, I know, but people don't. It's okay. So you've got this friend. You're starting to see women different. You recognize their bags, but then you go back to wait, and you're seeing more beauty in women. So you see, sorry, I brought you back, but you were just saying you asked someone out on a date. Was this the first girl you ever asked out on a date?
Yeah.
And it did not go well?
No.
Okay.
And I've always been met with this. And I don't know if it's just a teaching or an idea from the church that you have to look a certain way in order for that person to be your spouse. So I was always met with, Miguel, you're such a nice person. I love you. You're a good brother, but I don't know if I can be with a guy with your story. That was what I heard often.
Yeah.
And that should have sent me, like, that rejection should have sent me to be like, I'm never going to have a wife.
Right.
I should just go back. But my pursuit was not for a woman.
Come on.
My pursuit wasn't, let me show the world how straight I am by having, no, my pursuit, and still is just him.
Amen.
I want him. I want him more than anything else. That's the man that I've looked for. That's the lover of my soul. That is my husband. That's my best friend. He's the one who sticks closer than a brother. Him. It's only him. And so after all rejection.
Now from women.
Yeah, from women in the church. And again,
tried and true, bro.
Yeah. I think because at the time, like, and I know it's still this way, but homosexuality is viewed so differently in the church. Like, if somebody struggles with that, you distant them. Say a little nice prayer, throw a little scripture, but
don't bring them in.
Don't bring them in. And so life is changing, and I'm pursuing the Lord, and I'm still crying out to the Lord. And this is I want to make sure this is clear. This is years of me praying and seeking the Lord, because I would be in public and men would just hit on me. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not looking for this. I'm not
trying to put these things
Yeah,
out
I'm
there
not
now.
like waving a flag or anything. But there were still things that I was carrying, how I carried myself. And so I would just go to prayer. And I was like, Father, I need help. Whatever I'm doing that's causing men to hit on me, remove it. Do whatever you have to do. And he did. And that being hit on lessened and lessened. And then I was just like, okay, what am I supposed to do with life? I'm seeking the Lord. I'm not living in Chicago. I haven't lived in Chicago since I left. I left at the age of 21. I'm 39 now.
Wow.
And so I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, I'm a Christian. I should go do a Christian thing. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And so
Be a missionary.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a pastor. That was the thought. And I had made a lot of guy friends from that ministry, and one of them was living out in Texas. And he was like, why don't you come out here? I was like, no, I like where I'm at. Yeah. But the ministry that I was at had another program, and it was a deeper life with Jesus. And I was like, okay, I want to get, however I can get more of him, I'm gonna go. Yeah. So I went back to the ministry. I met other friends. The Lord gave me more brothers. Again, what the enemy meant for evil, where men were targeting me and I was targeting them. Now it's how it's supposed to be, a brotherhood.
A rightly ordered.
Yes. Sharpening one another, encouraging one another, truly loving one another, like the Lord was giving me that. And went through that program. It was great. I was part of their their staff. Okay. And I get kicked out because I was in rebellion, because there was still a part of me that wanted the world, because this place was out in the country. Okay. So there was no
You're like stripped of stuff.
Yeah, I was stripped of everything. If you had to go to the mall, you had to ask permission. And
but you chose this.
Yeah, I chose this. Okay. Because I want, wherever the Lord is, you went. I went. I'm like,
Smelled
okay.
like him, tasted like him, gone. I got it. I got it. Yeah.
But I get kicked out for rebellion because I would sneak out and go to the mall. And I wasn't doing like
the stuff you used to.
Yeah, I'm sneaking out to the mall. I'm like,
not for women's clothing.
No.
Like
I wanted to
a new t-shirt.
Yeah, I wanted control still over my life. And I think that's what they were trying to point at. A surrendered life, a surrender to him. Yeah. And I wanted still control. So I decided to check out Texas, came to culinary school. Was like, okay, is it culinary school or is it seminary? But the Lord really pushed culinary school, because as a kid, that was another thing that I turned to. That's another thing that I loved. I remember watching Julia Childs on television. And so when I heard that she went to this Le Cordon Bleu, I'm like, that's where I'm going. So I went to culinary school in Dallas. Wow. And I honestly thought the bullying would have ended back in high school, but it started up again. Like some guy just out of nowhere just came, started talking to me. I thought I was making a friend, and he's like, are you gay? And again, that was the thing that the enemy used to bully me with as well. Like, I'm praying, I'm crying out. I'm not
dressing the way I used to.
I'm like, what is this? What is this? And I just now I can look back and see that it was just the enemy. Yeah. If he can make me doubt that God has not transformed me, has set me free, then it's easy to just go back to what I knew. So I shared my testimony with him. I was like, this is where I used to came out of, and blah, blah, blah. I thought I was doing a good thing, and the Christian thing, share your testimony. Yeah. Well, he went and told the rest of the class, and we're grown. This is adults. Yeah. And again, the same thing that the enemy used. These two guys are, Miguel's gay. And I'm like, what? And it used to just wreck me. And I'm like, I guess it is just me. I'm not man enough. There's something in me that is just letting people know that I'm less than a man. So that was my thought, that I was a less than Christian because of what I came out of. And eventually finished culinary school, and I started doing inner healing and counseling, because what I realized, I wasn't fully living out this new identity. I was the new man chained to the dead man. I was lugging him around, because the enemy wanted to be like, but this is where you came from.
Don't forget.
Yeah. But instead of seeing it like, but that's not who I am anymore.
Right.
I'm a son.
Like I can cut free from that.
I'm truly free.
Yeah.
But I wrestled with that and just thought I was less than. And whenever I started doing church in Dallas, and I was part of a small group, and men would separate and women separate. We'll go share our prayers, and I would share. I'm looking at porn. Here are my desires. I was open from where I came out of, and like some of the guys would just be like, "Thanks." It was weird, but the Lord gave me a good friend out of that as well that I'm still in touch with, and he never treated me different. And so there was an opportunity. There was a girl that I met at this party, and I was interested in her, and well-meaning brothers knew that one day I wanted to get married. So they're like, think about what you want in a woman. And I started listing these things out. Like I wanted her to come from not a broken family, to have brothers. I wanted her to be a worship leader, just all this stuff. My prayer, I wanted Stephanie Gertzinger. Like that's who I wanted. I wanted a redhead. Like,
oh, wow. Okay.
It's
right
like,
to the hair color.
Yeah. Everything.
Wow.
Not knowing that I was creating an idol. Like this is what I want. And God, if
you got to fit that.
Yeah. So I met a redhead at a party. I'm like, this is her. So
my baby Stephanie.
Yeah. We start to talking, and she's like, cool, you're a nice guy, blah, blah, blah. Here's my number. By the way, I'm moving to England. I was just like, okay, this is all right, bye.
Yeah.
And a year later passes, and I'm still seeking the Lord for wholeness and healing. And my prayers have been at that time like, I want whatever you have for me, Lord.
There you go. Yeah.
Whatever this looks like.
Yeah.
Like
singleness, marriage. Was singleness on your radar? Were you like, no? No,
I wanted.
You wanted
a family.
Okay.
And to me, because I'm like, I really want to have children one day.
Yeah.
I really wanted a family of my own. And that was what I would pray. And I'm like, but Lord, even if you don't give me that, I'll go wherever you want me to go. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Just give me more of you. Then this opportunity comes where that same girl from the party reaches out to me, and she's like, hey, brother, you've been on my mind. We need a chef at our missions organization. Would you be interested in coming? And I was like, in England?
Wow.
And backtrack. And this is how the Lord works. My mother can share this. Like ever since I was a kid, I always had this weird fascination with England. I don't know where it came from, but I just knew. I always told my mom, I'm going to go to England one day. It came out of nowhere. I think, I don't know if that came from Julia, watching Julia Child or whatever. It came from somewhere, but I think it was the Lord planning that when this opportunity came,
you were ready.
I was ready.
Yeah.
And they're like, just get here. We'll give you room and board. We'll give you pocket allowance. We'll give you a car. Just get here. I was like,
okay.
So again, during these little moments, the Lord started showing me that I can trust him, that he is faithful. Because I was supposed to raise money, and I didn't have money to raise. And I was trying to sell my car, and I called some guy at CarMax, and he's questioning me like, why are you trying to sell your car? And blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm trying to get into the mission field. Oh, what mission field? I was like, bro,
just take the car.
Don't car. Yeah. And I said, it's called OM, Operation Mobilization. And he got silent. And he said, I used to work for that ministry. And I was like, what? And we got connected. And again, this was the Lord confirming, like, this is where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So when I didn't make the money that I was supposed to raise, that's when they're like, we'll give you what you need. Just get here.
Wow.
So I got there, and it was a whole other world, another experience. And it was healing, but it was also hard because I didn't have community. So even though I was amongst Christians, I didn't really have a church that I was connected to. But at this point, I also experienced freedom from pornography. And so I'm in England and started making friends. And one of the friends was this girl. And it was like my first weekend of cooking, and there was like this big prayer event, and I cooked, and afterwards we all got together, and she invited me to go to the pub with them. And I was like, no, I'm good, but thank you. But a part of me was like, at this moment, I had told the Lord, I don't want wives right now.
Okay.
Like, because of the rejection and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but also I just want to focus on why I'm here.
Yeah.
And so I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the pub with this girl, and she brought 2 other girlfriends. And this girl's name is Lisa. And her way of getting to know people, she would be like, what's your story?
Oh, gosh.
So I'm like, well,
Sit down.
yeah, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not interested in you. And I know already what's going to happen. So I shared my testimony with them. And these girls are weeping. And they're crying, and they're like, thank you so much for sharing. And it was a different response from what I've experienced from other Christian women. And Lisa said she normally doesn't journal, but this night she journaled, and she said, Lord, I don't know what it is about this man, but there's something special. So we're all starting hanging out. I'm hanging out with Lisa more and more. And but again, I wasn't drawn to her. I wasn't attracted to her. There was this is what I wanted in a woman.
Yeah.
This list,
Fit the
this
box.
idol, she didn't fit the box. And I remember a dear brother asking me what I was interested in a wife. And he's like, do you want a wife or do you want a Barbie? And I was just like, oh, okay. I had tunnel vision of this is what it had to be like. And I said, okay, Lord, tore up my list. I'm like, whatever you have for me, that's what I want. And he pulled back the veil again and showed me Lisa. And I saw her for who she was, who she is. And I saw how she interacted with people, how she served people, how she was with children. And that's something in me was just, what is this? Like, there was a feeling that I couldn't really put words to that was drawing me to her. And I started hanging around with her more, and her and her flatmates. There was like 5 or 6 other girls. And so I was constantly at their apartment.
Wow.
Getting to know Lisa.
Look at even the restoration there, like you with women before in your old, and now like this new redeemed man that God's forming, you and women again, but very different.
Yeah, I'm not one of the girls.
No.
You know? And so her and I are driving, we're going out one night to go meet a mutual friend. And it just kind of bubbled, like everything that I was feeling toward her just kind of bubbled up to the surface. And I was like, felt very elementary. I'm driving, I'm like, I like you. Oh. And she was just like, wait, what? Yeah. And I was like, and I just cranked up the music. I was like, okay, keep driving.
It's like a kid.
Yeah, a kid. Oh. Yeah, there was an innocent moment there. And one of the rules at the ministry at the time, like, you're not allowed to date. You know, you're there for a reason, and you can only date after you've been there for a year. Well, I had only been there for like 4 months. Okay. And I didn't know the rules because you
came in as like culinary, different. Yeah.
So she's like, okay. And she doesn't say anything. I was like, oh, crap. Yeah. So after the night, she was like, I want to ask you, why did you say you like me? And I was like, well, you make me nervous. It was like a good nervous. And she was like, okay. And that's when she shared that rule with me. She's like, you know, we're not allowed to date and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay. But I continue to get to know her. And so we were kind of dating, but not dating.
But not, yeah.
You know, I was just.
There was an interest.
Yeah, there was an interest. And something that I learned about my father, and what I love about my dad, random fact, I'm Miguel the third. Okay. I always hated my name. Because, again, growing up, being Hispanic, you said Miguel, 4 other little brown boys in the class turned around. So I didn't feel special. But now knowing I'm named after my dad, and I have a beautiful relationship with my dad now that we didn't have. But something that I learned from my dad, I saw how he treated my mom and my sisters. And he would buy my mom flowers randomly. He would buy her jewelry randomly. It wasn't like, hey, honey, happy anniversary. Here's your birthday. Yeah. He did things just because he loved my mom. And so I started getting to learn things that interest Lisa, her favorite chocolates and little stuff like that. She worked in the finance department, so she would work long hours and she would miss meals, so I would bring meals to her. And I wrote a little note and I put just because. And I bought her chocolates. And at this point, I started wrestling with pornography again. I didn't really have community, and like insecurity started rising up too. And there was a lot of pressure from, I was cooking for 175 people daily.
Wow.
You know, and I was exhausted, and that struggle just came back to life.
Yeah.
And I remember my time when I was in Kentucky, that a lot of the men that were there in the ministry were men who were pastors, worship leaders, and they were there because their sin got exposed, their sexual sin. And I was like, I don't want to be that man one day. I don't want to hurt Lisa with my sin. So it's better that I just cut it off. And again, we were not dating. So this was in January of 2013. No, I just turned 2014. And I sat her down and I said, hey, we need to talk. And she was like, okay. And I told her I'm struggling with pornography. And I just told her, I'm not good enough for you. I saw the woman that she was, and I continue to see myself incorrectly. Even though the Lord has done a lot in me, I still saw myself as a broken man. And I told her, I'm like, you deserve a better man. Because I saw how precious she was. And I'm like, she deserves a man who is free, who is whole, and all this stuff. And she looked at me and she said, I was willing to work with you through all your mess. The ball is in your court. And she got up and left. And I was surprised by her reaction, because normally I thought she would have been like, oh, boo-hoo, okay. But the only thing that I asked for, a couple things, when I threw out that list of Stephanie Gertzinger as a wife, I said, Lord, I want a woman who will love me for me and who will be bold. I don't want a mousy wife, because I know my personality. I need a woman who will get in my face and be like, bro, you're wrong. And that is what I wanted. And so I end things with Lisa, and I struggling with pornography again. I'm like, I don't want this. This isn't life and life abundantly. And so I just started fighting, and I found a brother that I can trust in, who became my accountability partner. And I started sharing my struggle, and he started he was a brother to me, you know, and he was from another country. He's from the Netherlands, and he loved me well. We fought together well. And he was like, you know, what happened with you and Lisa? And I told him, and he's just like, bro, what are you doing? And I had flatmates as well. And one brother from South Africa, his name's Pumi. And he was like, I can't imitate an accent, so I'm not gonna try to. But he's like, Lisa's a good woman. She's a rare woman. I don't think you want to let her pass by. Wow. And I was like, so I started praying again. And this is the first time I felt love for a woman. It wasn't, she has a rocking body, or
Isn't lust.
It wasn't who she was, how she was wired, how the Father has made her. That's what I was drawn to. And this love just came up in me, and I was just like, I love her. I love a woman. I want her. I don't want to lose her. Wow. And I went about it the right way. I went to leadership and said, I want to pursue her. I went to her mentor and said, I want to pursue her. Wow. I went to her girlfriends, and her girlfriends were like, bro, you hurt her. But pray and try pursuing her again. At this point, I didn't know that Lisa was, you know, she was hurt. And she started talking to some other guy, and she needed a ride to London. So I was going to drop her off at the train station and drop her off and pick her up. I volunteered because I was like, I want another chance to talk to her. And so before I dropped her off, I said, I messed up. Would you give me another chance? And she's like, give me the weekend to pray. So behind the scenes, Lisa's like going to see this other guy in London. Oh, wow. And she said, God, if this is the man, if Miguel's the man that you have for me, then let this guy not call me, not text me, and pretty much stand me up. Wow. So she gets to London. She's texting the guy. She's calling him, waiting, because they were supposed to meet. They've been talking on the phone for hours and hours throughout the weeks and months. So she almost forgot she said that prayer, because she's like, this guy normally And then she said she was sitting at some cafe and she starts laughing to herself. She's like, I asked God for me to be stood up. And she canceled her trip there, got a return ticket back to the city that we were in. I asked if I can pick her up, and I said yes. And I picked her up, and we were driving around, and she says, I have an answer for you, but I'll tell you when you drop me off. And I was like, okay. We got lost.
Oh, jeez.
And we're driving around the countryside, and it was beautiful. I think it was just the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, we're just lost admiring the beauty. And we finally get to her flat, and she said, I'll give you another chance. But if this does not lead to marriage, if there's no intention in this, I don't want this. And I'm so, like, a woman to pray that and to say that and believe that.
And be bold to say.
Yeah, be bold to say. I was like, okay. And so she said she'll give me the chance. And when she shares this story, she's walking up to her flat and she hears this loud, woo! And it was just me in the car. And I'm like, God, you gave me another chance. And they granted us permission to date.
Wow.
June the 5th of 2014. They announced it in front of the ministry so people wouldn't get suspicious.
Yeah.
And I remember people kind of clapping and people just like celebrating that, you know, and there was still a part that wrestled that I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not man enough for her. But Lisa, the way that she loved me and the way that the Father used her, she would always speak identity. Like, I don't know what version of Miguel you're talking about, but that's not who I see.
Come on.
Fast forward, I moved back to Texas. She stays to finish out her time. I know that one day that I wanted to marry this girl. And so I was living with this family in Texas, and I told them that I wanted to marry her, and they're like, well, let's start praying and stuff like that. And we're doing long distance over Zoom.
Jeez.
It was like a couple hours on a Sunday because there was a big time difference.
Yeah.
And pornography came back up again. And that sin struggle started coming up again. And the lies, like, you're going to hurt her with your sin. She's not going to want you. Like, she's going to reject you. You're going to hurt her with your sin. And so I just kept ignoring that. And we still continued to date. And one night, this poor, my spiritual family that I'm living with, they encouraged me to just trust the Lord to provide for whatever I needed. And I'm like, well, I want to marry her. I know she's coming to visit. So I want to propose, but I didn't have funding. I didn't have money. And I was always I am a sentimental person. Yeah. I wish I had like my great grandmother's diamond or something. And our family, we don't do that. Yeah. That's not in our family line. Yeah. And so I wanted something with a story. And the wife of the house was just like, why don't you pray and ask the Lord for a ring? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, God is going to be like, here's a ring. Like, that doesn't make sense. But it was my journey into trusting and to learning about his faithfulness. Yeah, that was one of my first. No, he provided for England, but like trusting him for something like this. Yeah. So I started praying and praying and praying for a ring, and I'm like, okay, Lord, it kind of felt silly. And this couple that I met one time from the church that I used to go to in Dallas, heard that I came back from England, and they wanted to get in contact with me and wanted to hear how my time was in England. And I shared my story, told them about Lisa and how I want to, like, this is the woman. And they knew my testimony and they were so touched by it. And I want to say a couple months later, they sent me a random email. I was visiting my best friend in Pennsylvania. Her name is Jess. The Lord also gave me a spiritual sister in Pennsylvania. And he redeemed that as well. Like, she never saw me as one of the girls. I was truly like a brother to her. And she was the best woman in my wedding too. She stood on my side. Wow. And we're praying. She's like, let's go pray for that ring. And she's like, Miguel, don't screw this up. Let's go pray. And we're praying. And I get the email. And they're like, hey, brother, we've been thinking about you and we want to give you our engagement ring. Would you want that? And I'm like staring at my phone and they're like, and if you don't want it, we will give you money toward a ring.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? And I was like, yes,
Yeah.
I'll take the ring. There was something, again, that sentimental side. I'm like, yeah, this is a beautiful thing. The next day they sent me a follow-up email. They're like, we want to give you the band and the engagement ring as well. Do you want that? And I was like, yes.
Wow. Who does that? Yeah. Yeah.
The Lord.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this random thing that I used to do with my Christian girlfriends, we would just go on and try on rings and stuff like that. I love jewelry and stuff like that. And my best friend Jess, the one in Pennsylvania, we would go and pretend we were a couple so we can try on.
Just try on rings.
Very expensive rings. So I had shared that story with a friend back in England and who was friends with Lisa, and we were at a mall. And so she kind of pushed us. She was pushing us together. And we were at a mall. She's like, why don't you guys go? Remember you used to do that with your friend? And why don't you go do that? And I was like, okay. So we went and tried it on, and Lisa fell in love with a set. This is how the Lord works. She fell in love with that set. It was called Canadian Ice or something. It was really expensive. The set that she fell in love with was almost like a replica of the set that the couple gave us.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Come on, God. Come on.
So I propose. She comes, visits in December. I'm a romantic as well.
Yeah.
And I proposed to her and she says yes. And that was the journey of us walking in this thing. And I tried breaking off the engagement as well.
Wow.
Because again, I didn't think I was enough. I didn't think I was good enough. But it wasn't until I started doing inner healing that the Lord started showing me, like, I've made you. You are a son. You are a man. You're no longer this thing. That thing is now fertilizer in this garden. Yeah. So that is not who you are. And so Lisa gave me like a deadline, like, if you say no, there is no coming back. Yes. We'll be done. Yeah. I can't do this anymore. Yeah. So I prayed and like people shook me. They're like, brother, what are you doing? And it was like I snapped out of it, you know. And again, the accuser was just having me look at something that I no longer identified with. Yeah.
Trying to get that dead person to come back.
Yeah. So I move forward. We get married. We've been married this December, 10 years.
10 years. And how many children?
One.
One child.
One son. And that is a story in itself. Like my journey through marriage and learning how to be a husband, the same thing that I used to cry out, like, Lord, teach me how to be a man. Now I'm like, I was always the woman in the relationship. So I didn't know how to lead. Yeah. I was always led. Yeah. And so I'm like, Father, help me to be a husband. Help me to love her the way that she deserves to be loved. And my prayer was like, Lord, I want to see her the way that you see her. Because there's going to be days where she wakes up, her hair's everywhere, her breath is hot, my breath is hot. Yeah. You know, like, we need to see each other rightly. Yeah. And her worth doesn't change on if her hair is done or not. She gains a pound, loses a pound. Yeah. None of that changes. The only thing that changes is how I see her. Amen. And so I need his constant help to see her. Let's go. So that's something that
you're making me want to get married right now. My gosh. Come on, Lord.
Yeah, like that is something that I want. I wanted to see her rightly. Yeah. And so we were trying to start a family. And again, intimacy was hard in our marriage, not because I wasn't attracted to her, but I'm like, what am I doing?
What do I do? Yeah.
Like, am I going to be able to like satisfy her? Yeah. Again, pornography was a horrible teacher. Yeah. And so there's just things that I had to unlearn. And I remember it was, I want to say a couple of days after our wedding, we didn't have sex. And it was because we were just tired or whatever. And she was crying and I'm like, why are you crying? And she remembers something stupid that I said. I said, and I'll change the wording, but I said, the female anatomy is disgusting to me. And that's what I used to say in sin, not when I was a believer. So she remembered when I had said that.
About your old self saying that. Okay.
So to her, she was like, does he think I'm disgusting? And so I prayed in the moment and I said, Father, I need you to come into this moment. And I put on worship and we had sex for the first time and it was beautiful.
Wow.
And it was holy. And it was something that, again, it was like from a whole other world that I didn't know about. And again, I invited him into that atmosphere. And it's something that I encourage husbands, like, it's a beautiful union. It's a godly union that you
created it.
Yeah. You have to invite them into it.
Yeah.
Because if porn was your teacher, it's going to want to pop up in ugly moments. And it's going to tell you, this is how you treat your wife, or this is how she should be, or this is how she should look like, or this is how you should look like. No, I'm inviting the Father into a holy moment and saying, Lord, protect this moment. Help me to love her. Help me to take care of her. And it's something that I pray when we do come together. It's like, Lord, this is yours.
Yes.
And I want you in this space. I want you in this moment. And it's a beautiful thing. And like, I never thought I would be drawn to a woman's body. I never thought that I would enjoy being held or being close to a woman. Like in the beginning of our dating relationship and even in marriage, I would flinch whenever she put her hand on me. And again, because of what I came out of.
Yeah.
But I started asking and praying for that. I'm like, Lord, I need you to heal me. Like my journey has always been going to prayer.
Yes.
I cannot trust what man has to say, what wisdom. I have to be like, you made me.
Yeah.
You know my body. I need you to help my body to heal. I need you to help.
The right order.
Yes.
Reorder.
And it's something that I'm constantly asking him, teach me, show me, help me. Like I need him. I still need him.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I've been walking this Christian life for 17 years, but the things that I struggle with now, do I find men handsome and attractive? Yes. But I'm not a slave to that. The things that I struggle with, am I praying enough?
Right.
Am I reading it?
Am I relying on you enough, Lord? Am I taking things in my own hands? Am I self-reliant instead of God-reliant?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, those are the things that plague my mind now,
right.
You know? And there are times where I do mess up, where I'm trying to do things out of my own wisdom and my own strength. But again, I have to remind myself in whose image I'm made of and who's walking with me and who loves me and who loves my wife. And he wants me to lead my family well. And my encouragement to people who are coming out of this and stuff like that, like that whole journey of attraction is with him. When you're starting to love him and start loving the way that he's made you, the desire of wanting to share that love with another person. And I know guys and even women who are coming out of that, they're like, I don't know if I could ever get married, and they choose celibacy. There's no shame in that. But I wonder if it's celibacy mixed with fear.
Right. I just yesterday, Miguel, like you're being so vulnerable. Just yesterday, I was talking with a dear friend of mine, and he was asking me, what are you afraid of? You know, what's the road that's scary to you? And he knows my journey. He knows, you know, he knows deeper than most. And I said, marriage. I said, marriage. I said, sometimes the life of celibacy, the life of me and Jesus seems safer than the unknown of me and opening myself and trusting another human, a man, to love me well. And so that's very real. Like that, I believe that the call to be the Lord's and the Lord's alone, I believe that's a real call. But I pray we're being called solely and purely by the Lord, not mixture of I'm afraid that I'm not good enough. And all the things you expressed, even in your own journey, I can relate to in myself, in a place that he's saying, cry out to me. I want to make you whole. I want you to see yourself rightly. And so I just want to say that is such an on point. And I've been out of the lifestyle for over 10 years, right? And it's this constant journey of growing and healing in those places, God revealing places we're still scared. We're still fearful. We're letting fear navigate us, not the Father, you know? So not to steal that, but it's so on point.
Yeah, I think if we want all the wholeness that the Lord has for us, then we have to trust whatever that looks like.
Right.
And my thing is, like, when we were in sin, and we were with the same sex and we were planning a life.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I envisioned myself with a guy who looked like Chris Hemsworth, and we would adopt 2 little girls from China, and I'll have a little chow chow.
Yeah.
You know, like, this was going to be my life. There's something good that's in there, that I desire connection with another person. I desire family. That's
a good and holy desire.
But this idea of now leaving that life, you know, the lies are like, will I even be attracted to them physically? Are they going to love me? Are they going
to be attracted?
Yeah.
Is my past so painful and so dark that someone wouldn't be able to actually see me?
Yeah.
So it's very real.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talk about that enough. I don't think we unpack some of those things. Oh, okay, I'm no longer in the lifestyle. Okay. And I say this probably every time. I wish my journey in Christ didn't involve falls, but there've been revelation of deep hurts. It's not an excuse for anybody I've hurt or anything I've done, but the reality of like, it's a place that I haven't opened up and let the Lord come into and heal. Right. And so that could even be not just falls, but in fears. Yeah. Right. And so when we don't talk about it and we don't know, like you even sharing it, Miguel, sure, I shared it with my friend, but sharing what you did gives me the space to say, hey, there's a real fear in my life there. And I want that to be exposed to the Lord, and I want him to mend that. Yeah. You know?
I think what fear would want to say is giving us power and control. Like, I'm going to hold on to this fear because of the unknown. Yeah. But when we're walking with the Father and really knowing him, like, okay, I don't know what this is going to look like, but I know that your hands are good.
But I know you.
Yeah. So I'm going to give you this thing. And it's not a one-time, like, here's a fear. It's a daily thing, and just inviting him into that space. So I would love to encourage people who have been walking with the Lord, who've come out of the LGBTQ community and who are living a celibate life. Yes, it's great. It's awesome. But ask yourself, is the root of celibacy fear, or celibacy that you want to live for him and him alone? Ask him that. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it, the Father is never going to come down with a heavy hand and shame us. His hands are like, can I have it?
Yeah. Do you trust me?
Yeah. Do you trust me?
And that's exactly how I felt. It was not, oh, you've got fear in there, and it's not a shame or a condemnation. It was I found a spot that you don't trust me. And I just, like, he loves us so much. He's like, I just want all of you. Yeah. I want all of you. I don't want any fear in my child, you know? And so those are invitations to grow in trust. Just as I've heard you share, you've been growing, Miguel. He's been growing you. You've been accepting his invitation to trust him more. Yeah. And it is scary. It is. But it's worse to hold on to those fears and then try to pretend like they don't exist, or to try to ignore them versus, okay, God. And so even you sharing, Miguel, in my own heart makes me more vulnerable and more open. So I can't imagine that doesn't happen elsewhere and with people who might be listening too.
Yeah. My encouragement is just continue to seek him in that, whatever that looks like. Celibate for the Lord, praise him. Yes and amen. A possibility of having a family. Yes and amen.
Amen.
Whatever that journey looks like, it has to be done with him.
Amen.
Whatever path, it has to be with the Father.
Yes.
It has to be trusting that no matter what this looks like, I'm holding your hand, I'm trusting your hand. Your hand is good. You only have goodness in your hand. Because for us that have come out of this, like, we've experienced horrible things that have been done to us. So we can't always trust the character of the person.
Right.
But he has shown himself to be faithful. He shows it here all the time. Yeah. He's done it on the cross. Yeah. Look how far I would come for you to walk in freedom and to know me, that I came so you can have freedom, so you can have intimacy with me. Like, and I want that to be shared with other people as well. So my ministry, not ministry, but my time with the Lord in singleness, it was awesome and beautiful. My time with my wife and in marriage is also beautiful. It's a crazy, beautiful journey, but it's been done with him.
Amen.
It has to be.
That is what I've heard as since you've sat down, is it's with him and it's personal and it's intimate and it's also included the body of Christ. But it wasn't forced by or pushed by. It was fostered by. God has brought you people in his family to walk with you, but it's always been you and him.
Yeah. And just bathed, soaked, drenched in prayer. Because I prayed to have brothers, spiritual brothers. Lord, your word, and I've held them to, you put the lonely in families. Give me spiritual brothers. Give me spiritual family.
Yes.
And the men that in my beginning walk with the Lord who didn't really understand me, who rejected me, the Lord always turns things around.